Testing. There we go. We're all full of problems today. We're all full of problems. Sorry about the mix-up there. We had a bit of an issue with the stream key. Fixed it. So finally, but yeah. Anyway, frustrating. Sorry about being late here, but 11 a.m. coffee and crypto. 11:12 coffee and crypto. Hopefully everyone's Saturdays is doing very well. Everything should be good to go. Everything should be live. Everyone should be hearing me. Perfect. Good morning, everyone. How's everything going? So obviously, this week was a little rough for a little bit. Not really rough. I'd say everything just traded level. I think people were kind of scared for the low prices on certain things. We did see some dips, like say Solana. We saw that dip all the way down to the 134 range, which is a pretty crazy wick, but it is going back up. So we did talk about that kind of bull flag formation that it was forming, and most likely it is going to go up. Some analysts have talked about a $250 Solana. I think it's fairly possible for an altcoin like that. But when you look at the market today, it's a stark contrast to what we've been dealing with over the past week, right? Bitcoin was kind of trading level. I mean, we had a couple of good days, but we didn't really do much. And now everything's kind of green going into the weekend. Everything's looking really bullish. We just had our golden cross a couple of days ago. So Bitcoin just had that. Now, I mean, like some people could have said, hey, we could go down. We could cancel out this golden cross. This could be like a fake cross, a false cross, kind of baiting people in. Could be a bull trap or whatever it is. I think right now we're probably looking at this as a legitimate golden cross. I don't think we have much to worry about. Now, that being said, if you look at like, say, this golden cross here, how difference it was. So we crossed into our golden cross and we never retouched, like we never came down to cross those lines again until after our peak. When you look at 2017 though, that actually happened at a much longer rate. So you see that happening and then it goes up and up and up. So I don't think we've truly really seen that, right? So we've kind of had a little bit. So could we see a kind of increase like that going way above our 200 day? Right now we're so close to our 200 days, so we're still in a bearish time. But when you go way above the 200 day, that you see that you have a lot of support. So I think a lot of people are just nervous where we are right now with Bitcoin. Obviously Bitcoin's going to go higher. It's just a matter of time. We see that with the news too, in a lot of things like El Salvador. 20% of El Salvador is now using Bitcoin, which I believe also 1 million, so 1.1 million Salvadorians already use the Shivo wallet, which is the Bitcoin wallet that they created for El Salvadorians. This is crazy. This is insane to see the first country really kind of adopt it with like open arms, really not even cutting any loose ends here. They're really focusing on making sure that Bitcoin is being used within the country. And 1.1 million Salvadorians is a lot considering Salvador's population is 6.5 million. So that, pretty good ratio that they've actually kind of onboarded onto Bitcoin. So you're going to see more businesses and everything except Bitcoin down there. Well, I mean, I believe they are right now. If you look at a lot of South American countries, when you're talking about Venezuela, Colombia, they all use different cryptocurrencies, usually the Lightning Network with Bitcoin. Some of them use Dash. I'm hugely bullish on where Dash could go. But this is bullish for all of crypto, is seeing one country adopt Bitcoin, and let's see how this works. It's almost like a trial run for these guys, and then the rest of the countries are going to kind of see, okay, well, hey, this Bitcoin stuff isn't too bad. It propped Salvador up, so you know its net worth or its GDP went up to this price, whatever it is. Well, I guess their GDP wouldn't go up, but the net worth of the country would go up. So I think that either way, holding Bitcoin is going to be incredibly powerful. You see, actually, what was it? Some Norwegian country talking about potentially investing money when people are born, and just kind of putting it into an account and just letting it grow. I mean, Bitcoin would be a good option for that, right? Buying everyone Bitcoin as they're born. Monthly buy Bitcoin searches online hits 241K, 3 times more than buy gold. And in this time, I would say that people would be searching how to buy gold. Is Bernier the only candidate talking about crypto? I mean, so here's the thing: Canadian politics. I don't know exactly like what other politicians' stances are on cryptocurrency. I know that the OSC, the Ontario Securities Commission, has kind of went against bad actors. Now that being said, the regulators aren't super tight as tight as say the United States. OSC, Ontario regulators may be a little bit much. But yeah, in terms of like what politicians and what their platforms are, I don't think any politician is actually talking about cryptocurrency other than Bernier. And I think the only reason he's talking about cryptocurrency is because he loves getting his sound bites in and he loves like being top of the news. So, you know what I mean? Lots of protesting from El Salvador. Is that protesting to Bitcoin? Let's actually pull some up because if it is, I mean, I want to see that. El Salvador protest. Interesting. Thousands march on. Oh, on his government reflects. Okay. Reflect concerns over democracy and Bitcoin. So there is always the other side of the coin. No pun intended. You know, there are people that are not going to like certain things. Now, I probably say I don't know everything about the El Salvadorian president, right? All I know, young guy legalizing Bitcoin and making it legal tender. That's all I know. So you can see people in different. So I don't know from feminist organizations and Catholic organizations. So is this the people of the protest? Just came on controversy. So it looks like, yeah, a good amount of this is because of Bitcoin, eh? But there's probably some other political stuff kind of thrown into the mix in all. I think people are kind of, interesting. I want to read more on that because that's interesting stuff, to be honest. You know, you don't often think about that. What's happening on the other side of the coin? People that don't want the adoption of, say, Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. I'm just going to focus on that because I have no other idea what the president does, what else his policies are. But you know, I think it is important to at least look at the other frame and see, okay, how can we educate this? How can we work together and kind of go there? So at the other end, the receiver chose an instant via convert from Bitcoin dollars to Visa and legal tender besides Bitcoin. See, that's the one thing that I don't understand as well. They're still using other currencies, so I don't know why exactly Bitcoin's such a big issue. But I do understand at least people being upset and protesting it. So yeah, with Bernier, it's yeah, he just likes getting his nice sound bites in. If you watched say the debate or anything, like the block leader was just it was clear that he was just, you know, getting those like snappy sound bites that sound really cool to the voter base. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, Maxime Bernier is not going to be. I don't know. Maybe they'll get a seat or two. But I guess we'll see. So again, Bitcoin is hitting these monthly like high searches for buying Bitcoin and overbuying gold. We see how the economy is right now with inflation. Everything else is kind of going up. Prices are going up. Wages are kind of staying stagnant. Maybe some are going up now finally to kind of attack this wage shortage, or not wage shortage, labor shortage. But in searches, we're seeing a global volume of 241,000 for keywords of buy Bitcoin and 73,000 for gold, which makes sense. A good portion of that is in the United States in all of these surveys. And then 43,000 is buy Ethereum. So this goes back to what we heard from Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs saying Ethereum could potentially be a better store of value than gold, than Bitcoin. And their reasoning in their statement was because Ethereum has smart contracts and it allows you to do a lot more stuff on the network. Of course, Bitcoin has Taproot coming, but it's still not going to be nearly as functional, or you can't develop on it quite like Ethereum. Now, On even on that note, we did hear from Cameron Winklevoss. I think it was Cameron. It might have been Tyler. But he said in an interview that what is more valuable, brick of gold or the internet? And that kind of struck me a little bit. Now, I don't think of Ethereum as the internet necessarily, but when you look at Ethereum and Bitcoin and say Ethereum one day becomes deflationary, we're on that track. We're not quite there. We've been burning a lot of Ethereum after the London hard fork. But if Ethereum does become deflationary in the token supply, Ethereum could be a much better store of value than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is increasing. Of course, Bitcoin's being lost because people are throwing it away or whatever. So Bitcoin is being lost. But, at the same time, Ethereum is also, being deflationary over time. So there's a lot there to that. Journey, thank you, buddy. 549, I appreciate it, man. You've been a huge support in the channel. Thanks for stopping in, buddy. How's it going, buddy? How's your H bar? H bar's been doing not too bad. I saw that hype, and then I think H bar is getting something like a $5 billion investment or injection. Where was that I saw that? Bear with me here. Let me see if I can find that article for you guys. But either way, we see this heating up. We see this in the midst of the supply shock and everything else. We have everything going with cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, but the prices are just so crept low. Where was it? Here it is. Hedera Hashgraph Council has allocated $5 billion of HBAR in an effort to incentivize and fund the expansion efforts. So interesting stuff. We could see more come out of HBAR. The thing about HBAR is when you look at HBAR compared to other tokens, and we've talked about Solana, we've talked about everything else, HBAR is the quickest. HBAR is the fastest. There's no doubt about it. It's above Cardano. It's above Ethereum. It's above Solana. So there's a lot of ability to develop on the system, and it is more of a corporate solution, right? Like likes of IBM, LG, they're on the council, for example, so they kind of go through the motions, make certain policies for HBAR. Now that council is also like a 2-year term, and then they get swapped out for another person. So made some massive gains on HBAR. Yeah, man, absolutely. I sold. Yeah, nice. It's hard to sell the top. It's hard to take profits right at the top. So, one big thing that people are doing with their Bitcoin right now is hedging against inflation. So this is going back to like what we're dealing with the pandemic, right? We have all this stuff happening. We have the money supply not being reported. We have inflation due to supply chain issues and disruptions. And we're stopping seeing certain products actually being made and put up on the shelves. So a lot of people are looking at safer assets now. They're looking at gold, they're looking at silver, and they're looking at Bitcoin. So that's why a lot of people are kind of searching, okay, like what's Bitcoin all about? How do I get on there? Do you guys know of any platforms where you can trade BTC and ETH to Canadian and withdraw to the bank account with 0 fees? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that. Everywhere that I've looked, it usually has some sort of fee. Now, I know primarily I probably use Kraken or BitBuy to do withdrawals directly to my bank, just because of legislative requirements. I think Newton might be the cheapest with an e-transfer, but don't quote me on that. But I think Newton might be your bet. Not sure though. You might want to check their fee. I know they charge something, but I think it's like 0.1 compared to like 0.25. So, MicroStrategies, they buy more Bitcoin. This is nothing new. I feel like Michael Saylor is always buying new Bitcoin. So I'm not concerned. And like, I think he knows, just like most people know, that buying Bitcoin now is a cheap Bitcoin. Bitcoin at 48,000 is a cheap Bitcoin because it's going to look cheap when Bitcoin's at 100,000, 150,000, 200,000. It's going to look very cheap. You're a couple Xing, you're 2 to 3Xing your investment, which is huge. So any money that he puts in here is going to increase twofold, which is pretty bullish, especially when you look at where the market cycle is going to go. Of course, a lot of people think that we're going to end sooner, kind of ending in that September September, December kind of time frame for the end of the bull market. But of course, I think that we're going to go into 2022, especially right now. The bearish times that we're hitting really kind of puts us more in line that we're going to hit a market peak in 2022 opposed to 2021. Now, a lot of people even said that we're going to see it by the end of September, that 100K Bitcoin by the end of September. And that's what we need to do. We need to basically go straight up from here. So I'd say at this point, because I've said before, non-negligible chance that we're going to go by the end of September. I think it's at this point, it's not going to happen. I don't think we're going to hit that $100,000 Bitcoin by September, but I do think we will see a market peak in 2022 at roughly between $150,000 to $200,000 Bitcoin. For my XRP holders, and this kind of goes into regulations as well, so not just XRP. So if you don't hold XRP, don't like XRP, I just spilled coffee on my pants, so don't mind me. But Ripple and XRP is propped up, or has been propped up by the Republican senator as they push against the SEC scheme. Now, if you have any opinion over the SEC, you should have an opinion that they're basically a glorified mobster outfit in a government uniform. That's more or less what they are. Gary Gensler has, MIT, lectures about him talking about blockchain. He's a very, very smart individual. He understands a lot about blockchain to be the head of the SEC, but he is no friend to cryptocurrency. I want to make that completely clear. That's been shown to me as an XRP holder back at the start of the lawsuit. And I think that's being shown to everyone else that Gary Gensler is absolutely no friend to cryptocurrency. Now, that being said, the SEC has kind of done similar things to this in terms of like the SEC, yeah, completely. In terms of like with cryptocurrency, and not even just cryptocurrency, because we saw this with Elon Musk. I agree that his 420 tweet was kind of out of bounds, but at the same time, it wasn't out of bounds for such a big fine. Right now, it just seems like a shakedown, because it seems like more they've been going after and they've been threatening crypto projects. Hey, we're gonna come after you, and a lot of these are ending in settlements. A lot of these are ending in just cash settlements. Continue selling your crypto. Continue doing what you're doing, and it really just feels like a payoff. I think the SEC as it is now kind of needs to be dismantled and something needs to be put in its place, or it just needs to be completely reformed. And Gary Gensler needs to be the first to go, in my opinion. So Senator Pat Toomey, Republican Senator Pat Toomey, I can't remember, I think Pennsylvania, PA. So he called out Gensler for trying to regulate digital tokens through enforcement. Now, it is important to regulate, right? I'm not against regulation. I am pro having AML legislations, KYC. The reason why these things are important is because we don't want money laundering. We don't want terrorism funding. You know what I mean? We don't want financial scams and everything else. We want to make sure that things like that are at least covered, right? This is the general rules that we place on our banking industry today. I work in insurance. I deal with AML and KYC all the time. So it is an important thing for the US and Canada. So I'm not saying anything about it. But when you have a SEC and an SEC chair regulating through enforcement, and really like not providing any guidelines before they enforce, it's really damning the industry for growth and prosperity, which in essence only hurts the United States, because who's being left out is the United States and Canada. So there's a lot of issues that now Canadians or certain Canadians can't use certain exchanges. For a while, certain Americans couldn't buy certain tokens, right? So this has been a constant issue that we've been fighting with the legislators, with Gary Gensler, with the SEC. And this has all kind of come to a head with this Ripple case. So whether or not you like Ripple or not, you should know at this point that most likely Ripple is going to win this lawsuit. The judge is very kind of siding with Ripple at this point. A lot of the motions that are getting passed for Ripple are big wins. They just recently got a win to be able to disclose SEC members' holdings for XRP. So it's been a pretty big deal. Wake and bake with crypto and coffee. Best part of waking. There we go. Absolutely. Every morning. Happy Saturday. That's right. 4:20. It's 4:20 somewhere. I tell you. Well, actually, it's 4:30 somewhere. But we definitely got that 4:20. For this one, and I forgot to put my coffee in my thermos, so we're going right from the pot here. But U.S. officials are now investigating Binance, and we kind of knew that this was coming, right? Like everyone kind of knew at this point that Binance was going to get investigated, especially when we look at what's been going on with their legislation departments. They've been ramping up a bunch of people to deal with their regulations. And you can clearly tell that they're scrambling for a lot of this. And we could see some pretty big issues. Now, we did have like some things with their HQ changed to meet some sort of requirement and not be decentralized. I think a lot of these exchanges were operating based out of the Bermuda and Cayman Islands to avoid taxes. But I think now regulators are kind of getting onto this. We saw it with options trading, so leveraging. A lot of areas can no longer leverage trade on Binance anymore. I know Ontario, we can't leverage trade anymore on Binance, so sucks to suck, I guess, for us. This is happening because they have to shut down certain areas because they can't comply. So they have to enforce this stuff. Now, they did actually hire, who is it? On Friday, Binance hired a Europool dark web specialist. So I don't know what that entails, dark web specialist. I mean, like, listen, I've gone on tour before, but like, what's a dark web specialist? Niles Anderson Road to serve as the Senior Director of Audit and Investigations. I don't know who this is. Dark web analyst, I mean, interesting job title. I don't know if he's something akin to like a white hat hacker, but he has officially joined Binance's team to kind of help out with those regulations and investigations. So who knows what's happening right now? Right now, everything is just as potential. So we're looking at possible insider trading and market manipulation. So, you know, everything is, alleged until proven otherwise in a court of law or due to evidence. And we don't have evidence saying that Binance has done any wrongdoing right now. So just keep that in mind. Canadians know so much about U.S. politics. It's completely true. Completely true. We know way more about U.S. politics than Canadian politics any day of the week. Like if you look at Canadian politics, Actually, it baffles me. It actually baffles me when people like start talking about conservative and liberal. So PPC party and the Liberal Party. I'm going to talk a little bit about this. All right. I'm going to try to talk in a way to not let you know who I'm voting for in this election. So I'm going to try to be as nonpartisan as I possibly can. The PPC party and the Liberal Party have the exact same platform on all the major issues. When we're talking about housing, this housing crisis that we're dealing with, in terms of all the investment bullshit, where our price is consistently going up and up and up because of all this foreign investment coming into the country and investing into, I'm going to go on to the Bitcoin chart while I talk about this, and investing into homes as just straight up investments, right? And, you know, I think both of them are basically what both of them are doing is looking at giving them benefits to renovate homes, making it so you have to hold a home for 1 year, building a certain amount of homes. These policies are the same, right? Whoever you vote, PPC or Liberal, it's going to be the exact same policy polished up into a different package. That's all really it is actually going to be. Nobody actually kind of pays attention. I think everyone looks at like what's happening in terms of like, which party leader hates each other, or like what's going on here, what's going on there. I mean, politicians suck. Politicians are just corrupt all the time. And I agree that a lot of people right now are very, very sick of Justin Trudeau. Fair. And you know what? He's done a lot with a WeChat charity not the WeChat, but the We charity thing that came through, his governor general. There was a lot there, but like Aaron O'Toole is also no friggin' angel, right? So there's a lot there in Canadian politics. A lot of people don't know it. And arguably, I would say that American politics are way more interesting. I was at the dentist. I was literally at the dentist watching some sort of congressional hearing. I can't remember what it was. It was something back in 2018. So obviously politics kind of exasperated from 2018. We went to a whole new extreme in 2020, that's for sure. But I was watching it and the dentist is just like, oh, like, isn't that boring? And I'm like, well, arguably right now is like the time to be into politics and understanding it. So I live in the U.S. and I bet 90% couldn't even name the president of Canada. Well, I agree because we have a prime minister of Canada. Sorry, I didn't mean to screw you up on that one. But yeah, I would actually agree. I actually think that most people don't know. Well, maybe you do. Justin Trudeau kind of, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people know Justin Trudeau at this point. He's been a fixture for the last 15 years or last three terms, basically, not 15 years in total because we have this early election. So I will say I encourage everyone to go out and vote, regardless of what someone else says. Really kind of look at the actual honest to God policies between both people, or I say both people. It's a multi-race, and at this point, go with your gut. Just like investing, go ahead and research the leader that you want to most align with. Give them the vote. Bring their seats in house. Kind of gives them a little bit more leeway. Even if you don't win and be a prime minister, you're at least giving them a little bit more leeway within having more seats and having more of a discussion on the table, right? Having a larger vote. So at that point, that's what we can do. I'm most likely saying if I had to put money on the election at this point, I'd probably say Aaron O'Toole is going to take it. I think a lot of people are just sick of Trudeau, and I see the polling numbers. Aaron O'Toole is probably going to win. So that's enough about Canadian politics there. To be fair, the President of the United States doesn't even know. Sorry, I find that funny. Yeah, hilarious. Okay, so Bitcoin currently sitting at 48,540. Cardano is, now we've talked about Cardano. We discussed exactly like what we expect to happen. So again, I drew these lines in the video that we did yesterday, talking about our target for Cardano at this point. Once we kind of get back to be bullish, is $4.75. So right now we're just kind of trading within this channel. It kind of looks like Cardano's tightening up. To me, it kind of looks like that. We're kind of getting into that, like, kind of motion, right? Yeah, almost. So almost like a pennant, not really. So I don't know. I think Cardano could be seeing a wind up and then a boom. We are looking really bullish for all the charts right now for Bitcoin and everything else. We talked about the kind of the stock ratio in exchanges, and that's been decreasing. So more Bitcoin is exiting exchanges and being purchased and being put into long-term holding wallets. So I do think that we are in due for a market rise and increase in the market price for things like Bitcoin, and then Cardano's going to follow, Ethereum's going to follow, Solana, all of that fun stuff. on a good day, I some days can be hard. In terms of Solana, now I've been kind of beating this drum over the last week. And I've talked about this, and I said, don't invest more than you're willing to lose because everything can go down, right? I did my due diligence to say that, but I did say that I was dollar cost averaging in this dip, right? I bought at 159. I bought at 151. I bought up here just kind of FOMO, but like not a lot of Solana. And I agree, like my bag of Solana is in no way large. But I at least wanted exposure at this point because I saw where it's going. I saw the potential. I started using the blockchain, using Radium. And if you use Solana, it's actually pretty good. So I can only imagine when we have a more fleshed out kind of NFT space here, because everything's quick. We'll do a quick transaction really quick with what's in my wallet. So we have some Solana here, and we'll get some Ray. So let's do 0.1 Solana. Is that, oh, sorry. 0.1. There we go. Is that not working? Huh. Looks like that's obviously not working on stream for us. Oh, because I'm on liquidity. That's why. Because I'm an idiot. Sorry. Go to Solana. So we'll see how kind of quick this is, and that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make, is how quick that this exchange works compared to, say, something like Uniswap or even the BSC. I've even noticed that it's a little bit more quicker than the BSC. So the transaction's already done. I can go to my liquidity here, pick my 2 liquidity pairs, hit max on my Solana. Well, hit max on my Ray because I have more Solana than I have Ray for extra fees. Go here, approve. This is already going to be in liquidity pool. I can go to my pools. So this is within a second, the closure. Now, of course, like HBAR is a little bit quicker than this, for example, but this is just an example of how quickly we do move. We go to our liquidity pool. We kind of stake this LP here, hit max, confirm, approve, and that's staked. So we can go and harvest our LP super quick, a super cheap fee. Everything moves really quick. So I've been really impressed. We had that kind of hiccup, that downturn for Solana, where the network kind of shut off. But now everything's kind of lighting up. Everything's working. We have the NFTs going through. So I do see it as a good investment in the long term, Solana, where it could go. Now I'm still way more bullish on things like Cardano with the peer-reviewed structure to make updates to the Cardano blockchain. I don't think it's that big of a deal that they operate on Haskell. Also with Polkadot, we have Polkadot on the Substrate code base, very easy code base for coders to use, has an already very healthy ecosystem. We have things like Polkadot, we have things like KSM. You guys know that I'm on PSwap. Actually, someone was asking about PSwap earlier about the token supply and everything. But hold on, let's actually look at the PSwap price, pswap.info.io. Now, of course, with PSwap, one thing you would have noticed is with our liquidity pairs, we lower our PSwap, how much earnings we get based on how much of the burn rate is. So eventually we are going to be at our final burn rate, and we're going to be earning our base rewards. But anyone providing liquidity now is basically earning extra PSwap tokens. So instead of it being burnt, it gets burnt and then reminted and then put into people's wallets that are providing liquidity, which is people that are providing liquidity pools. The price is down, so it's at 0.5 cents. So we had that kind of run up for a little bit, and then we eventually crashed down very recently. That's why I was a little shocked that I saw 5 cents there, but that was a really recent crash, actually. So went from 6 cents all the way down to 5 cents, so dropped pretty dramatically. I think that was the drop that we saw with Bitcoin. That we kind of saw this. And oftentimes when you see Bitcoin, such a big player, make moves, you see waves in the small caps. So a small cap at 200 million, that's going to shake it up a little bit. XRP is basically just trading level. Of course, I think, and I've said this before with XRP, I think we are going to just trade a shitty XRP until we have this SEC case out of the way. I truly believe that once the SEC case is out of the way, we are looking at a $3.40 XRP. Why do I say that? Is because XRP is one of the few tokens that hasn't reached its all-time high back in 2017. One of the top caps. We saw that with Ethereum. Ethereum hit its all-time high. Ethereum is currently at 34,000, almost 35,000, making a huge trek up, holding a lot of support at that 33,000 mark, 32,000. So Layer 1 is pumping when BTC was struggling. So, often you'll see that. So when Bitcoin takes over and more Bitcoin dominance comes in, Bitcoin price goes up, the altcoins will bleed. And then when Bitcoin just starts trading level or goes down, altcoins should go up, right? So you will see that correlation if you watch close enough for that. In terms of like smart contracts and Substrate, right? Like I want to take a moment to talk about Polkadot because again, I want to beat on this drum because I don't want to be the guy that says I told you so. Polkadot is absolutely going to be a truck in this market cycle. It's going to do very well. We have a lot of good projects for Polkadot. We have a lot of good DEXs, automated money maker, market makers, not money makers. Like you have Akala, and Akala is the Akala and Karora network. So this is Polkadot, specifically Akala. So the parachain auction, I believe, is coming up for Akala. So just be aware of that. That's coming. But what's already out is Karora, which is the KSM, the Canary network. I've actually made, it's not a joke. I've actually made the statement on the channel, and I think I tweeted it, that I plan on totally, sorry, I'm just accepting my wallet. I plan on 100% getting a KSM tattoo once KSM hits $1,000. But this is the platforms available. Of course, the interest rates aren't like crazy, but I say they're not crazy as in like, they're 70%, right? Like they're still pretty insane. 40% for CAR and KSM, which is probably the token pair that I would be interested in, and just providing liquidity within that. So I've been considering taking my KSM off staking and going in and providing liquidity here. It's probably something that I will do in the near future. But I definitely recommend at this point to get involved in a lot of substrate code base products. A lot of these products are going to do very well, especially as the Polkadot ecosystem kind of gets a little bit more fleshed out over time. You guys all know I'm a huge Polkadot bull. I am bullish on Cardano, where Cardano is going to go. But I think Polkadot and its interoperability is going to be a real kind of presence in the crypto space. I think they're going to have a lot to do with cryptocurrency in the next few years. Now, Charles has also mentioned 4 things like the next generation in DeFi, what's going to happen. We have a lot of new projects coming out, right? So if you look at the iterations, how cryptocurrency has moved, we had Bitcoin, right? Starting from this bare bones 2008, really niche kind of payment structure, and then building out into what cryptocurrency is today. And then you had the growth of Ethereum, Ethereum coming out, Ethereum fundamentally doing something different than what Bitcoin does. And then you have things like Polygon being built on Ethereum. Then you have things like Solana, Cardano, Polkadot, and all of these other additions into blockchain technology and smart contracts, and understanding smart contracts and the Byzantine protocol, which is basically a consensus among different nodes, right? Making sure that everyone agrees without seeing that everyone agrees. Kind of making a very secure smart contract network. It's the basis theory on most smart contracts. Really cool stuff. I think Stefan Thomas all started that while Vitalik Buterin was kind of sleeping on his couch. So there's a lot of backstory to it, but now we have this whole DeFi thing. Now we have this NFT bubble that's going on. We had a little bit of an NFT drop over the last couple of days. I think that was more due to the OpenSea insider trading FUD. I think we're going to have things like criminal activity and insider trading in a lot of different sectors, including NFTs. But the whole point is, all of this stuff is now coming through. It's all growing, and it's all growing from where it started to basically nothing in 2008. So where we are right now is a testament to kind of where we're going. And of course, I'm here for gains, right? I do want to make some gains, but I'm also here investing in the future of finance and everything else. I got into DOT late, but it took your advice and got around $28 average bag. I hope you're. I think at the very least by the end of this market cycle, we are looking at $150 Polkadot. That's not out of the realm of possibility. When you talk about market caps, we'll actually look at that right now. I firmly believe in this. Now, the reason why I believe in 150 Polkadot, not because it's a good round number. And like these are all guesstimates, right? It doesn't have to be like $150, but I'm saying $150, give or take, is going to be a close kind of area that we're going to have. So let's take a look at Polkadot really quick. And let me just make sure that I have a calculator open. I do. There we go. Clear this, move this over here. Okay, so we have a circulating supply of 1.3 billion dot tokens. So 1030716 Okay, so for this to hit $150 polka dot, right? So if we want $150 per dot price, we are looking at a $154 billion market cap. Okay, that right now that sounds like a lot. That's a lot of money. 150 billion. The current market cap is $36 billion. All right, I'm estimating that this market, the crypto market in total, is going to increase to $10 trillion, give or take. I think we have that money on the sidelines. I think it's going to enter cryptocurrency, the whole market entire, not just Bitcoin and everything else. So the crypto market, from what I see right now, it is going to at least 4.5, 4.7x from here. Okay. That's so far the numbers that I'm thinking. If you go back to our current market caps and look at where we are, okay, so 154 billion, is this doable? Well, 154 billion isn't even half of Ethereum's current market cap. So if the whole market increases by $8 trillion or $7.8 trillion right now, if the whole market cap increases by that, could $154 billion go to Polkadot? I would say that that's a very conservative estimate. I would say that's very conservative. So at this point, $150 is my price target. I think it's going to do very well. And I think we're going to at least see $150 this cycle. Can you make a video on PSwap setting up a wallet there? I remember you doing a demonstration in a live stream, but I can't remember when it was. Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely do that. There's a couple of things that you got to do with a couple helpful guides, but I can put something together to kind of post out, because a couple of people have been asking that, and obviously right now is probably a great time to get in, considering the Polkadot PSwap price. Again, my strategy is always to buy low, sell high, buy the fear. That's like when Solana was kind of doing its little dippy dive because of the market FUD. I bought that, right? I didn't buy a lot because we're still very, very overextended, but I bought that. And same thing when Bitcoin took this big tumble, I bought, right? You buy the fear. So PSwap, great price. I'll go ahead and put a video out so you can kind of connect your wallet. It's fairly easy, but I think the Polkadot.js steps, yeah, it's easy. It's honestly actually not as hard as you think. And they made it easier because now you don't have to do nearly as much because you can operate within just PSwap itself now. Before, you had to go into this well, it's not crazy. It's where you stake Polkadot as well. Like it's the developer setting where you interact with the blockchains, but you don't have to use this at all anymore. Everything's all in PSwap. So now, for example, you can go to your rewards. You can go and sign and claim your rewards right from your actual PSwap. So, and that's gone up. So a good thing to note about the rewards that I'm getting here, and I'll explain this a little bit for anyone that's wondering. Have I checked out Sandbox? No, I saw screenshots, man. I saw screenshots, but I haven't looked into the project. I want to. I think you talked about it though. I think you were the one that mentioned it originally, and then I started seeing like it everywhere. I have it open. I'm gonna pull it up next. So right here are my rewards from the fees. So these are the fees that I gained from my liquidity pools. These are not the actual vested rewards that I'm gaining that aren't being burnt and being put into my wallet. Those are going to be coming later. But you can see here where all of my liquidity is tied with PSwap. So all of this, as it's traded, I get rewards here, and that comes into fees. I don't really accept it. I just keep it stacking here. When I put in more Zor, then I put up more Zor and PSwap as the token pair. Sandbox. So I don't know much about Sandbox itself. I saw it basically looked like a kind of version of Minecraft in a way. I mean, like, games like this are gonna do well. Open platform games usually do well with a good development team. We've had problems, right? And here's my issue about investing in games itself. You have like things like DayZ, which objectively could have been a very, very good game, and then Rocket just kind of ditches the project and says screw it. And then you saw a bunch of other battle royale games come out of nowhere and take the market from DayZ that clearly could have had it. But I mean, like, this looked cool. Everything about this looked cool. And the reason why I'm talking about NFT gaming and blockchain gaming is because I truly believe that this is going to be some semblance in the future. I think people are going to realize that, hey, I can make an income playing a video game, working a digital job, a virtual job, doing things online, opposed to working a regular job. Now, I'm not saying anything about working a regular job, but there's going to be more automation going through. So, cool stuff, interesting stuff. I don't know. I really want to look more into it, but apparently, like, just like Decentraland, you can buy land, for example. So, I will look more into Sandbox though, because it looked really interesting when I saw some screenshots on Twitter. It looked really cool. There's Sandbox. There's one thing. What is it? Let me just see here. It was like DeFi land. I can't remember for which project though. Yeah, but there's a lot of those kind of NFT games coming out that you should be aware of, even if you're not investing in them. Gala Games, I know, has done great after their rise on. I think they had a Coinbase listing. Let's see, Gala Games. Yeah. Oh wow. Gala actually went up a huge amount. Let me just pull this up here. This is my news aggregate. So if you can I? No, I guess I can't. But you see that spike there, all the way up to well above. Yeah, that's a lot of. Is that in Satoshis? Yeah. Wow. Let's see, in the last month. Yeah, so we had that rise up, and I think this was because of a Coinbase listing for Gala Games. So again, I just want this to be in everyone's perspective. NFTs, VR gaming, crypto gaming, all of that kind of stuff. Be on the lookout for things like Sandbox, things like Decentraland. They are going to do well. They are absolutely going to do well in the future. Again, I would only invest what you're willing to lose in any of this stuff. It's no guarantee, especially with games. It can be very, very finicky. But there are some good plays out there. There are some things that are good investments that you could do very well on with gaming. So I wouldn't really throw it out in any way. I would absolutely look into it. Yeah, I think the gaming market is going to be insane. Now, this comes from like someone that's been a gamer all their life. I had these arguments with my little brother saying, you know, VR gaming is actually going to be the future. It's legitimately going to be one of the futures or one of the driving forces in the future. Like if you've ever watched the movie Ready Player One, I'm not saying that we're going there. But something like that could happen. If we look at right now, what's going on with the coronavirus and everything, like hopefully we sort this all out. But at the same time, there could be a need for virtual meetups. There could be a need for virtual learning for some immunocompromised children. There could be more of a need for VR virtual realities coming through. In the next couple of years, there's going to be better technology advancements. There's going to be VR suits. There's going to be VR treadmills people are going to buy. Eventually, it's going to be much more prevalent than people think. And it's not going to be for everyone. It's absolutely not going to be for everyone. And a lot of people might think like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to do that. Some people will. Some people will, and it'll be a big market. It'll be a huge market. There's a lot of people interested in that stuff, and in my opinion, VR is kind of the future of, you know, how we learn and how we interact across the world. It's not going to make any substitute for actual interaction with people, but you know what I mean. I think a lot of people will often choose a virtual world over the physical one, especially if they can make an income in that virtual world. We talked about Decentraland, and like people are literally working at casinos in Decentraland. You know, like that stuff like that is actually, you know, it's actually feasible. Okay, like what if you were say viewing a house and you did it all virtually? Your real estate agent isn't actually with you, but in a VR setting, and they're kind of leading you through the house. I mean, all of that is really, really possible. So Again, the total crypto market cap, we're back to a good high, right? We're back up to that $2.18 trillion. We're not up to that 2.4, and we're definitely not up to that 2.6 that we were before the big drop off. But we're not far off in all reality here. We're really looking at a close move. We're only looking at a 14% dip that we're suffering right now from what we suffered back before. So we've made up a lot of health. Now, Bitcoin is still at a much higher dip, right? So if we look at Bitcoin specifically, from the top to where we are currently, we're at 25%. So what does that tell me? Well, that tells me that the market is up, Bitcoin's down. There's more money in altcoins right now than in Bitcoin. We see the Bitcoin supply shock coming in. We see more people are buying Bitcoin and more money is flooding into altcoins, and that's going to be continuous. But once we see Bitcoin make a move up, and it does make a move up to say $80,000, $90,000, and then just kind of trades the level up there for a little bit, then you're going to see altcoins again kind of flood through and go through. I think it's just a thing that has to happen in a lot of ways. Like, I don't know, like, how you have equality in certain areas of the world and not have something like a VR technology. And like, especially like now, like, I don't know where I'm going in terms of life or where this is all going, but like, I see things like the real estate crisis and the housing crisis. I'm living in a small apartment. I can't really like go to a bigger apartment because everything's I'm being priced out of my own city that I grew up and was born in. And that's because of investment, people buying property as an investment. Our house prices, I could have bought a house, but I literally got priced out of the market and it just got away from me because house prices went from like $240K to average house price being like $600,000, $700,000. As a single income, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to pay that much mortgage just to live by myself. That makes no sense. I might as well just hunker down in my apartment and not really focus on anything else. But like there's a considerable concern about whether or not people are going to have housing. So when people don't have their own house, when people don't have a good space, what is their escape? Well, their escape might be video games and VR technology, right? So it could be a potential escape for a lot of people. It's probably, I mean, like, I know me as a kid, 16 years old, I was always playing video games. Here I am at 31 years old. I still dabble in video games. It's not like something that I don't do. But obviously, when you look at like where I am right now, and in my life, like, I should have a nicer house. I don't want to take out of my investments. Like, for example, I had this discussion with a couple of people when I went salmon fishing, talking about whether or not I should sell cryptocurrency to buy a house. And I was adamant that I should not, because even if I do sell my crypto, buy a house right now, the problem that I'm facing is I don't know if we're right around a housing crash. I don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 years. Have no idea. I mean, the housing market looks solid. It's been going way up, but every time the government wants to do anything with the housing market, it's always screwing up everything. It actually priced me out of the market because I couldn't get to the stress test of 5% on houses at the prices that they were, because of the stress test. And the stress test made it harder for first-time buyers to actually get into a house and made it easier for investors to have these bidding wars. So it's just been a big scarcity is the name of the game with Bitcoin, and scarcity is also the name of the game with real estate. So this is not like 2007, 2008, like with the United States. It's nothing like that. So we're seeing this massive shortage in affordable housing, and I don't know how people are going to actually maintain this. So no worries, buddy. We are probably going to end it here soon. Anyway, we are looking at roughly an hour. I know we started a little bit late, but we will kind of cap this off for a little bit because at this point, I don't really have much else to talk about on the news. Bitcoin is just kind of trading level. We are kind of up a little bit, but we will end it off there unless anyone has any lasting questions. But other than that, I think everyone's going to enjoy their Saturday morning. Sorry for the technical issues this morning. I'll obviously make sure that that's rectified for next time. And I am looking to put more of these up. I know some people have been asking, so if anyone's watching this after the fact, I do plan to do later live streams. So later in the day to catch people in the UK and Australians and everything else. I don't know what day I'll be doing that on, but I'll at least be doing one in the morning, one at night, for a little bit for the time being, and then I'll probably occasionally pop off stream in the future. But that's it for me, guys. Hopefully everyone's enjoying their Saturday. Hopefully everyone's kind of excited for what's about to happen for cryptocurrency. I think it's going to melt faces as soon as we get over this lull. All right, everyone, take it easy. Have a good one.